Texas fires men's basketball coach Chris Beard. I like Chris Beard. I'm not going to lie. I was shocked and saddened when I saw what happened. In fact, I'm texting Chris Beard as soon as the show's over. We're going to have Roger Wallace, who has been in Texas covering the Longhorns. He's the analyst for the football team on the radio. He also is the leading sportscaster on the NBC affiliate down in Austin. And, full disclosure, he's my college roommate. So Roger's going to come on and talk about the dynamics of firing Chris Beard. Here's what I see. You had no choice. I could be wrong. But when the allegations came out, and Chris Beard really had no defense. He really had no defense. Let's be honest. There wasn't. Hold on one second. I just got a text here. Anyway, I had to answer this. There wasn't anything that came out. Nothing that came out. Zero that came out to exonerate Chris Beard. I don't care what his freaking fiance said. I don't. That was sad for Chris Beard's fiance. You know, I've studied this. When I was coaching, I will and made sure nobody was involved in domestic violence. Nobody on my staff, in my program was good, and I educated them. And one thing we all learned is the victim many times will come back to protect the perpetrator, and that ain't right. That ain't right. It ain't right for her because she is put in an untenable situation. The pressure on her. He's a very popular guy. The coach that's going to bring Hook'em Horns back to prominence, a Texas guy. Pressure's on her. Millions of dollars. You heard Bruce Pearl say that he lost $11 million last year. Or, I'm sorry, when he got fired from Tennessee. $11 million. How about that? It's a lot of money. Well, he's losing the same. Pressure on her. Nothing that came out exonerated, so they had absolutely no choice. No choice. Zero choice. None. All right? So, what do they do next? My peeps are telling me Calvin Sampson is sniffing around. He's over there in Houston. Calvin's no fool. He's done a great job at Houston. I'm sure that Calvin would like to stay at Houston publicly. I'm also sure that Calvin is a ladder climber. He's smart. He may love Houston. He may love what he's done. He's got the number one team in the country. You can be the number one team in the country and be a bit under the radar, but Texas got big money, man. And Calvin Sampson's one of those dudes that lost a ton of money when Indiana blank canned him. So the truth of the matter is, Royal Ivy has been coaching. Who knows? I don't know. But I know this. You had to do it to Chris Beard, and I hate it for everybody involved. We'll talk to Roger Wallace. We'll get the latest on why the timing, all that kind of crap that you all care about, that frankly I really don't. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like getting into weeds. Well, you know, we had to wait. Of course you had to wait. You got to see. You got to let things play out. And, ladies and gentlemen, you got to read the contract. Roger, thanks for coming on. Beard is a guy that I've known a long time and I really like. When you heard this story and you saw the details, what was your initial thought?
Just disbelief. I mean, you're talking about you wake up in the morning and you, like we all do now, you go to social media and text that I get from work, and I said, this can't be real. This can't be real. You can come back from a lot of things immediately, but what this guy is alleged to happen is unbelievable when you think they're sitting at number 2 of the country at one point, lost a tough game to Illinois in overtime, but clearly they've got the roster to end up in Houston. And looking forward, this was their 20-year hire, Dan. No doubt about it. They had to get him. Shaka Smart left, and he opened the door, and they got him. And fast forward a month, and it's over.
Last thing, how good is Texas's basketball team, and how has this whole situation, do you feel it to be the distraction to be over, or is it got to go another week because there's just been the firing?
Well, I'll be real interesting to see what happens the next week. They won mostly games they should have won. Again, Rice came in on that night. If they had lost that game, nobody would have been shocked with those players and those coaches. I mean, they got a brand new staff. You had 2 coaches leave head coaching jobs, Chris Ogden at UT Arlington to become kind of his chief of staff, and then obviously Rodney Terry left the UTEP job, which is a good mid-major job to come be his associate head coach. And then you had 2 coaches leave, so you brought in 2, Steve McClain, obviously has IU ties and a longtime head coach. So your guys, make decisions to come here. So I wonder now that there is some closure, I think it could go 2 ways, Dan. I think that, they could relax and keep playing well, or maybe, the reality has set in, and kind of a tough place to find out tomorrow at Oklahoma State in light of what happened against K-State. I'll be interested to see Wednesday. They're back home against a really good TCU team. I think it'll be a special atmosphere because, through no fault of theirs, these players have been put in this terrible situation. And I think people will recognize, and students will be back on campus. I think it'll be pretty special regardless of what happens tomorrow.